Okay, on these, since we have a trinomial in the bottom, I'm actually going to factor these. That one can't factor. This one, you make two sets of parentheses. You split your W's up. You bring down the first sign. If this last sign is positive, that means the same sign you just used. So since I had a negative, I'm going to use it again. And then you work backwards. The factors of 8 that when I add them equals 6 are 4 times 2. Because 4 plus 2 is 6. 4 times 2 is 8. You always have to do the biggest one first. Now I need an LCD. My LCD is one of each family. So I've got a family of W minus 4. The W minus 4 is already listed. And a family of W minus 2. Now the LCD is important because if you take the opposite of those, the opposite of negative 4 is positive 4, or the opposite of negative 2 is positive 2, if in the end you get one of those two answers, that means that that answer cannot be included because it would make your denominator equal to 0, and that's not allowed. But we'll talk about that when we get there. So I'm going to take this LCD with each term. W minus 4 times W minus 2, sorry about that. W minus 4 times W minus 2. If it's the same on the top as the bottom, they cancel. So 2W times W is 2W squared. 2W times negative 2 is a negative 4W. Then I've got an equal sign. W minus 4 on the top cancels with W minus 4 on the bottom. W minus 2 on the top cancels with W minus 2 on the bottom. So I've just got a 6 left there. Okay, you always want to leave your squared term positive, so I've got to move the 6 over. The opposite of positive 6 is negative 6. Let's take that over. So I've got 2W squared minus 4W minus 6 equals 0. Okay, I can factor a 2 out of this, so that gives me W squared. 4 divided by 2 is 2. W minus 6 divided by 2 is 3 equals 0. But 2 does not equal 0. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to cancel the 0 out. So the 2's gone. So now I factor my trinomial, split up my W's, bring down the first sign. The last sign is negative. That means it's got to be the opposite of what you just used. So the opposite of negative is positive. Factors of 3 that when I subtract them equal to are 3 times 1. Now you do opposites. The opposite of negative 3 is positive 3, and the opposite of positive 1 is negative 1. I need to go back and see if I got any of these, 4 or 2. I did not get 4 or 2, so that means my answer is good. The answer is 3 and negative 1. On this next one, I'm going to take this negative sign and move it up with a 24. I'm going to factor my trinomial. So split up your V's, bring down the first sign. The last sign is positive. That means the same sign you just used. So since I used a negative, I'm going to use a negative. The factors of 10 that when I add them equal 7 are 5 times 2. Because when you add those, you get 7. Okay, so that factored out to be this. And then I've got this one. So my LCD is V minus 5 times V minus 2. My excluded values, the opposite of negative 5 is positive 5. And I don't want to put a comma. Let me do or. And the opposite of negative 2 is positive 2. Those two numbers cannot be part of your answer. So we have to test that at the end. So I'm going to put the LCD with each one of these. V minus 5 times V minus 2. And V minus 5 times V minus 2. V minus 5 cancels with V minus 5. V minus 2 cancels with V minus 2. So that's just a negative 24 there. Then I have an equal sign. V minus 2 cancels with V minus 2. So now you multiply. 4V times V is 4V squared. 4V times negative 5 is negative 20V. I need my squared term to stay positive, so I'm going to add 24 to both sides. Opposites cancel. 0 equals 4V squared minus 20V plus 24. I can divide all those numbers by 4, so let's factor out a 4. So that gives me v squared. Negative 20 divided by 4 is negative 5v, plus 24 divided by 4 is 6. 4 doesn't equal 0, so that's gone. Two sets of parentheses, splitting up your v's, bring down the first sign, last sign's positive, that means use the same thing you just used. I want the factors of 6 that when I add them equal 5. That's 3 times 2. The opposite of negative 3 is positive 3. The opposite of negative 2 is positive 2. So we've got 3 and 2. However, we said 2 cannot be one of our answers. So final answer is just 3. On the next one, I'm going to take this negative and move it up with a 12. So I have a y minus 4. This one factored is y minus, so positive means minus, same sign. Factors of 20 that when I add them equal 9 are 5 times 4. So my LCD is y minus 4 times y minus 5. My excluded values, the opposite of negative 4 is positive 4. The opposite of negative 5 is positive 5. So I cannot have either one of those as my answer. Okay, so let's do this. Put my LCD with each term. Y minus 4 times y minus 5. Y minus 4 times y minus 5. Y minus 4 cancels with y minus 4. 3y times y is, let me come out here and do it, 3y squared. 3y times negative 5 is negative 15y. Equal sign. Y minus 4 cancels with y minus 4. Y minus 5 cancels with y minus 5. So you've got a negative 12. I'm going to add that to the other side. So I get 3y squared minus 15y plus 12 equals 0. Factor out a 3, I get y squared minus 5y plus 4 equals 0. 3 doesn't equal 0, so that's gone. Split up the y's, bring down the negative, use the same sign that you just used. The factors of 4 that when I add them equal 5 are 4 times 1. Do the opposites. The opposite of negative 4 is positive 4. The opposite of negative 1 is positive 1. However, we said that we cannot use a 4. So the final answer is 1.